Today I'm going to create a page and show you how to create full bleed content. And you know, in the customize section is where you do global controls versus when you're editing a page, you'll see controls on the right, which is essentially known as block controls. All right, so I'm going to go in and edit the page here. And I have a standard blank page. We also want to make sure we always have a featured image. I have one just placed in here already, just so you know we're going to be using that image on the page too. So, okay, so first thing to note is that we have three controls. Okay, so I'm going to first go to the standard block editor controls. And so if we have anything over here, like for example, this is a paragraph, it gives me paragraph controls. If I had a gallery or an image, we have gallery or image controls, and so on. Columns, everything, those controls show up here, in addition to showing up on the item if they're available. Okay, the second one are page layout controls. Now keep in mind that if you click anything in here, it'll overwrite the global controls found in Customize. So you can essentially customize a single page versus the whole site that you would do in the Customize tool. Okay, so that's all what's in here. You have default settings, which is of course taking a look at the default settings of Customize. We have normal layouts, narrow layouts, full width, left and right sidebars. Keep in mind that if you're doing left or right sidebars, it does not put a hero above it. There is a way to do a hero above that. We'll do that in another demo. So anyway, this is all your page headers. And also, if you're doing a landing page, you can essentially disable your header navigation, right? Or your footer navigation, things like that, if you want to really give no distraction in landing pages. All right, and then the third one are presets. So you can do certain presets for spacers, tabs, accordions, info boxes, advanced buttons, and so on and so on. Row layout is like columns, but like a ton of more stuff to do in addition to columns. So, and there's even galleries with masonry layouts, the whole bit, okay? So all these things are in here, and these are global controls, so you set those individual blocks to work in a certain way. Also, you can show or hide their visibility through these tools. Okay, I won't go in there very much. That would be definitely another session. I'm going to go back to my block controls. Now, the most important thing today is we're going to show you how to set full bleed sections. So I'm going to go into our design library. Now, I want you to note that we have wireframes, which is basically predetermined layouts. It's pretty well any kind of layout you can imagine wanting to have. It's all pre-built. Okay, so because it's all pre-built, we essentially just have to pick one and it'll place it on the page. So let's start by putting, let's see, what would I want at top? Let's do something fun like this one. It's got quite a complex layout, but that's okay. I'm sure there's a reason for that. So I have this section in here and it's popped it in, and now I edit it just like anything else. The standard Gutenberg blocks, they've just been laid out already, okay? You have, of course, your controls for the block on the sidebar, you know, even for pretty well everything, even the dividers, everything like that, you can control in your sidebar because it's block editing. So I've got that. I'm going to add another element to the page. I'm just going to go down the page and I'm going to grab a footer. Okay, let's do just a simple footer with a logo in it. Okay, so it's down here. You'll probably notice that this is sitting within the page area. And I want to show you kind of a neat thing. Is there are different controls. I'm just going to use this for a moment because I wanted to show you this button here, boxed. So, you know, we have web pages that are quite often boxed, and usually headers or heroes and footers are not boxed, but the content can be. So essentially what that does is put some padding between the edge of the page width and your content, so it leaves a little bit of room. Okay, it's a nice open design. Of course, you can change the size of your page width on another setting. I'll show you that too. What I want to do here today is I don't want to have it boxed. So I'm going to say unboxed or default, okay? Because default is unboxed right now. We do not have full bleed. We do not have full bleed, but we can. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this extra space here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select near the top left corner, and this selects the entire grouping of elements. So now what I can do in here is I can go up to these controls and I can tell it what I want it to do. So basically this is for the content I want to use the content inner width, or I can change that width if I choose. I'm going to leave the content width set to my page width, but I'm going to hit this other button here, and I'm going to switch this to full width. And that is how you go and do a full bleed left and right. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the footer. And notice I clicked the logo, so it selected that, but I'm going to select the left-hand corner, and I'm going to go full width on this as well. Okay, this little space in here is our content area. I'm going to go insert before, and I'm just going to pop in another block. Actually, what will happen is when I come in here and I do this wireframe, what it'll do is it'll put it at the bottom of the page. And then what I'll want to do is I'll just want to use the controls to pull it up. So I'll just use this section, this nice little content area. Okay, and so it's below that footer, so I just hit this little up arrow and it moved it in the middle section. This is where I put that space in. So I'm going to take the space back out. So basically I have my top section, my content area, and I have my footer area. Now I'm going to show you something kind of interesting. So I've selected this content area. Notice there's a little lock there. I can actually unclick it, and then I can change how wide I want my sidebar. Or my, back in the days of magazines, we called this pull quote. Okay, and so now essentially I've got all sorts of controls on my page. The only thing I don't have is my full bleed. So I'm going to update my page. I'm going to preview in a new tab. And now I can see that I have full bleed left and right, standard content area, and footer. Now one thing I have too is I have a white very footer, bottom footer, and I have a white top header. So let's pretend I want the color to go all the way up. So one of the things I can do is I can just select that top area and I can apply the same color in which will match it. Or let's say I want to put a background image or something. So I'm going to go back into my page. I'm going to select my overall, and I'm going to go to my block editor because it's the block editor control. And notice that we have padding, margin, all sorts of settings. Before I do that, I want to show you something kind of cool. I can change my padding just by dragging. Okay, so or you can set it specifically in here and to exactly the measurement you want. I'm going to go into background settings. So essentially I can put a background image in, or a carousel, or a video. Okay, or I can do background overlay. And now I can select an image, and I'll just select this image because that was the one I had previously selected, and I place it behind that item. Now, it's hard to see this, so I'm going to change the opacity, and I'm going to make her very faint, just for fun. And I'm going to update my page. I'm going to go back to my preview, and I'm going to preview, reload the preview, and now we have her in the background. Okay, I'm going to do something kind of crazy. I'm going to make her parallax. That's all it takes. One little button, and of course I'm holding my shift key when I'm refreshing. I'm on Mac. If you're on PC, you would use Control. And now we have a parallax background. Okay. Now we still have this white bar at the top, but let's pretend we don't want a white bar. So I'm not going to edit here because I want to see all my page controls. I'm going to actually go to, because it's a global setting, I'm going to go to Customize, then I'm going to adjust the header. I'll show you this very briefly. So here's our header controls, and we have basically anything that shows up. We have 3 lines, which would be basically 1, 2, and 3 lines. So we could have primary, secondary, tertiary navigation, maybe a phone number or social or something up there. And you could basically drag and drop these items into place. So for example, if I want to bring social in here, I could bring social in and it will pop it right up there. Okay. Notice there's already color settings if I want. I can put social here. It would be weird, but I could do it. Okay, I'm going to take that off. I just wanted to show you as a demonstration. So anyway, I'm going to go to transparent header because that's what my goal is. But before I go there, I just want to show you something on taking a look at tablets. Okay, so you get a preview of tablet, and what happens here is this is what shows up in the drawer that opens up when you hit the hamburger menu on mobile. So you hit the mobile trigger. There's a mobile trigger right there, and then it opens up, and this is what you see is this one. Okay, and so you can do styling in here just by hitting that gear. You can do design and styling. Okay, backgrounds, everything like that. But we're not done yet, so the same thing can be done for the trigger, colors, and the whole bit. I'm just going to close that out. I'm going to go back to desktop and let you know that you can still do the settings in here too. Same thing, how much you want them space, the design of them, the just what's happening is all sorts of things, even controlling your drop downs are all in there. Now I'm going to go back. Before I do that, I'm going to go to my page layout, and I'm just going to show you what I was talking about before. Is here's the default. So normal page, narrow, full width, left and right sidebars. You can have more than one sidebar, and there is an ability even to create more, but that would be in a pro version. But you can have essentially two sidebars. So one sidebar might be your standard blog sidebar, where it has your recent posts and things like that. Another one you could use on page, as an example. Okay, I come down here, and this is where I could set my content style to boxed or unboxed. Okay, boxed one, again, makes it about a quarter of an inch short, smaller all around. And then we'll leave it unboxed, and then you can change the amount of padding that goes into the page. So I'm going to leave that on bottom only so that I have padding, but I can also disable it, and it goes right to the bottom. Okay, there we go. So I haven't addressed the header yet, so we're going to come back up here, and we're going to go to the header. I'm going to go down here to transparent header. I'm just going to turn it on. And now we have the picture coming all the way up behind navigation. So of course you would have to set your navigation to provide contrast against whatever your image is, and you can tell it what you want to enable or disable it on, because you may do your pages internally, and the pages may have the white bar at the top as opposed to a full, and then if you wanted to have a different logo, whatnot, for transparent header, you could. All right, and then you have all your different controls, and you have controls at all different sizes on how, and you can see how it looks. All right, so it's pretty cool how that works. All right, so we've gone in here and we've created what we wanted to do, which was our full bleed sections. And notice that I did the global customization in my preview as opposed to in my editing page. So now I'm in here, and I'm just going to do a quick refresh just to double check. And now we have everything that we did, and it's all in here. And so these are all just the demo, but or from the wireframe. And now I can come in here and I can change my content. Okay. Additionally, if I wanted to, maybe I decide I want to add an image in here. Go to my media library, and I'll pick this gentleman because he's pretty surprised that that was in there. And you have all sorts of controls, including color controls. Okay, so just so you know, there really is no limit to what you can do. You can change color overlays, duotone, shadows, highlights, all that kind of stuff in here. You can even change what happens in there, okay? All right, so there's a bit of an idea of what you can do. Something to know is there are symbols available within here, and we look into the background here, and it's basically an icon. Just heads up for you is to get the icons, you have to import iCommune icons, okay? So if you don't have those imported in your account, you won't see the icons showing up, or they will not display because they're just part of the demo. All right, so anyway, I'm going to update my page. I'm going to come back over here and do a little refresh, and I hold my shift key down, and there's the picture of the person. It looks like I could have put a space under that picture, but that's a pretty easy thing to fix. Pretty simple. Hopefully this little demonstration helped you understand some of the basics of how to build your site.